Hi there. I'm hoping that you can hear me. If there's anybody with me tonight, go ahead and let me know. Otherwise, I'm hoping this time I'm going to be able to see your comments. So let me ask you, has anybody ever said to you, "Oh, you're so sensitive"? Or do you go out into large groups and crowds and feel yourself absolutely drained? Oh, yes. Thank you for saying hello. Can you hear me okay? If you can, give me a thumbs up or something. But thanks for letting. And I'm glad to see I can actually see the comments this time. Last time I did a live, I couldn't. So this is incredibly exciting. Excuse me. Voice is a little froggy, so you may have to oh, thank you, Shana, so much. That means a lot. Thank you. So I posted some questions earlier. Things like, do you, excuse me, find yourself feeling drained and avoiding violent movies, or the ever, go to the networking meeting and you put the smile on and you've got your quick questions, how you're going to do it in your business card, and in 5 minutes you're looking for the corner to go hide in? Do you find if you get really, really hungry that your energy just crashes? Do smells, like really strong smells or sharp temperature differences or weather changes happening, affect you? And if you've said yes to any of those things, I'm really, really, really grateful that you're here with me tonight, because I'm here to tell you that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, and there's absolutely a lot right with you. If you feel like this, you may have been raised where it doesn't feel comfortable. People have judged you. You kind of look out into your world and everybody else seems to be having a good time. Hey, Amy, thank you so much for joining. And you look out and they seem to be having an awesome time and you're barely hanging on. And after a while, you begin to wonder, like, what's wrong with me? Well, I'm here tonight to share with you what's incredibly right with you and share with you some techniques. Actually, I counted them. There's 16. There may be too many here, but thank you so much. Just to help you begin to understand, because sometimes in the media these days, you'll hear the term thrown out of, oh, I'm a highly sensitive person, or I'm an empath. And you may not resonate with that at all. It means absolutely zippo to you. Or you may be one of those people who knows that you're highly sensitive, or you know that you're incredibly empathic, and you have absolutely no idea what to do with your abilities. And most of the time you just want to pull a blanket over your head and make a lot of stimulus go away. So I'm here to tell you, once again, this is a superpower. This is a gift. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ariana Shelton, and for over 30 years, my client base is filled. I would say at this point in time, there's no one in my client base who isn't a sensitive or an empath or both. They may be introverts, they may be extroverts, but they are all sensitive. And what that means is it's the way we receive data, it's the way we function. And only about 15 to 20% of the population are sensitives or empaths. So if you look at that number, let's take a look at that. Let's be generous, because I find it a little hard to believe it's 20%. Dr. Elaine Aron, I'll write that in the comments after. Her last name is A-R-O-N. If you look up in Google, the highly sensitive person, she was actually really on the cutting edge of doing the research, looking in the brain science of what makes highly sensitive people tick. Why are they different? Is there something different? And she's, through her research, come up with that 15 to 20% number. So if you look at it, why is this such an important topic tonight? Because that means, at best, 80% of the population is functioning in one way, and you're functioning in the other way. And if you don't understand yourself, it's very easy to fall into self-judgment. What's wrong with me? Why can't I? You may even have a partner or a parent or someone in your life who judges you also because you're not having the right responses. And I'm going to address this as we go through how this affects your weight, how it affects your self-esteem. As I just said, it becomes very easy to judge yourself if you're looking out into the larger world and you're seeing that everybody else is responding to a situation in option A and you're responding in option B. You don't understand it. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs in this group. And for entrepreneurs, it is absolutely vital that you begin to understand how you're wired, because you do have to make choices and decisions. I have seen some people who have used the term, I'm so sensitive and I can't do this or I can't do that. And they've used it as an excuse for their limitations. I'm not a big supporter of that. However, having very heightened self-awareness that this is just the way you're made, have loving self-acceptance that this is the way you're made, and then course correcting. One of the things I say to everyone who sits down with me as a client that I know is highly sensitive or an empath or both is, this is going to be a way of life. This is not a one, magic wand. Ariana's got the magic wand. We're going to do something once and you're going to feel a whole lot better. No, I can't tell you that. This is going to be a way of life. Just like you eat food, you sleep, you brush your teeth, becoming aware of your energy, how you create your days, how you interact with people will be a lifelong journey for you, a lifelong journey. I've been practicing this my whole life. I'm incredibly social. I love people. And I'm also an extreme introvert and extreme sensitive and empath. So with all the tools and techniques that I know, there's times I get caught up. And I have to tell you, my daughter said the kindest thing to me one time. We were in New York City and we'd been, doing networking meetings and events and we were really powering through, and all of a sudden I just was overwhelmed, just absolutely overwhelmed with energy. And so I was so upset. So what did I do? I found a piece of granite. Nature helps. Remember, nature always helps. And I put my back against the granite, but I was right on the edge of tears because I was like, dear God, after all of my experience and all of my knowledge, why am I doing this again? And my daughter just looked at me with so much love and she said, you know what, Mama? She goes, the world needs people like you. She's like, without it, the world's going to go wrong. And I felt what she was saying, because what it was is, just because we have the ability to see and perceive and feel something and others cannot, does not make us wrong. It makes us very right. We're kind of like that first alert warning system. We know. If you think about it for a minute, you probably know when you walk into the room if there's really intense energies. Everybody else is just laughing really loud and having a good time, and your body may go like, what happened here? Because you feel it. The weather change happens, and all of a sudden you're feeling like you've got, like a 10-ton brick on your head because you're feeling that extra pressure. Oh, I love the hearts. Thank you. You get in there and you do that hard day's work and you're wiped out. You're absolutely wiped out. You don't understand. Or my favorite is the open workspace. If any of you work where there's, the open desks and tables, I don't know who came up with that idea that fosters creativity. It is the death to anyone who's sensitive, because you get pounded with all the energies from around you. We actually even use different brain chemicals. Those that are extroverts, those that are not so sensitive, they use dopamine, and it goes right over the top of their brain. It's a very fast circuit. They need that stimulus. They love the loud. They love the bright. And that makes them feel more, and that makes them feel alive. For anyone who's highly sensitive, it makes you feel sick. Or if you go to like a lot of dance events or concerts, and the rooms are so loud that it feels like it's going all the way through your body, and everybody else around you's laughing and having a good time, and you're wondering why you just want to go like this and duck and hide. And that's because of the way you're wired. We actually use acetylcholine, and it takes a very long circuitous loop around the brain. It's literally the way you're wired. You're able to see things. And so what's the beauty of this? How many of you have ever looked out at a sunset and just felt that sunset go all the way through you and bring tears? Or look at, like I'll walk by baby strollers and you'll see like their sweet faces and their little hands and feet, and the babies are still so connected. They look at you and there's just that moment, and you get filled up. Nature's a big one because nature's so pure. You're able to perceive these things. You're able to perceive and respond to things and the people around you. Now, the dark side of that ability to respond, and if you didn't watch my video on boundaries, I'm asking you to go back and look at that on boundaries. If you're beginning to get this feeling that maybe you're sensitive or maybe you're an empath, go back and watch the video on boundaries. Very, very, very important, because naturally you're going to be able to feel how other people are feeling around you. Naturally, you're going to want to respond and make it better. That's actually a gift. I believe truly that if more people could respond right now, if more people could sense what's going on and err on the side of kindness, the world would be a much gentler place to live in at the moment. So that's really good. Yes, Amy, you do need to go back and watch that one on boundaries. However, the thing is that I find is we can get so busy taking care of others' needs and responding to their wants, needs, and desires that we forget we have to take ourselves and put that in that circle. Because it's that, as I said in the boundary video, if you're not putting your mask on first and then helping the person beside you, it's going to fail every single time. And so one of the things as a sensitive, as an empath, is you need to learn good boundaries. You can, so go back and watch that video. I go down through emotional, and actually that's only the tip of an iceberg. But that's a good place to start, because that responsiveness, that ability to feel, that ability to sense is a superpower. It is a powerful gift that this planet's crying for. But you must put you in that equation. Because if you're so tired that you're drooling on yourself, if you're so tired that you can't even think straight, if you're so tired that you just want to sit down and cry, that's not what's aligned. For those of you who don't know, my journey is one that is very much directed by the divine. So I go along with universal laws, divine right alignment. And when I'm tapped into that healing energy and I'm tapped into that divine flow, there's an alignment. And if I'm so desperately sick, exhausted, tired, I'm not in alignment with what is our divine birthright, with that which is what is the universe wants for us, where we shine, where we can create, where we can laugh more and be our best. Another thing about sensitives and empaths, why you want to explore this thought if it's new to you, and or if you know it, listen to the techniques I'm going to share in just a few minutes, is because if you have trouble with that weight issue, you can't get those last few pounds off, and you're really frustrated. You really don't know why. You're exercising, you're eating right, you're hydrating, you're getting your stress down, your cortisol down, so what gives? Well, if you are highly sensitive and you're not taking action steps to respect that, caretake it, place yourself in optimal situations, your body will instinctively say, okay, you're not going to take care of me. I'm going to put a little boundary between me and the world. So we're going to pad up here a little bit. we're going to pad up a little bit. And I see, that's why you'll see many women that are psychics, healers, that know that they're empaths. They tend to carry anywhere from an extra 20 to 50 pounds extra. And it's because their body is instinctively padding up a little bit for protection. It thinks that, okay, this little extra padding will protect us. So be aware that that's another fabulous reason for you to really begin to think about this, feel into this, see, am I really this way? Because also, I mean, everybody, if your blood sugar drops, you get cranky, right? All of us. Doesn't matter if you're highly sensitive or not. However, with that being said, if you are highly sensitive and you're letting your blood sugar drop, you're not paying attention to your food source, you are going to just go over the edge. You're just going to go over the edge because your body is picking up on so much data all the time and is processing all of this data that's around you. And so it's taking a lot of energy. So if you're not nourishing yourself, you're not keeping grounded. And when I say snacks, I'm not saying go and grab, your local candy bar or a bag of chips. That's not my ideal snack, obviously. We're looking for real food. We're looking for a piece of fruit. We're looking for have a bag of nuts in your purse so that if you get caught out. Even dark chocolate, okay? I'm a big fan of dark chocolate. Dark chocolate helps ground you, especially if you get good quality chocolate. Especially if you get it with like some nuts in it, because then you get a little extra protein. That will help ground you. Many times I would carry raw chocolate that had nuts and a little bit of raisins in it when I knew I was going to be with too many clients and wouldn't be able to take that full break. So I would eat just like a piece of chocolate, take some deep breaths, and have some water in between clients, because that would immediately ground me, give me my body that nourishment, that extra boost it needed to be able to keep going. So that's another reason why you're going to want to really pay attention, because it will, if you don't do that, that brain fog thing that happens, that overwhelm where it almost feels like sometimes you have like bees buzzing in your brain. If you begin to pay attention to all of these things, you'll be able to manage and create your life in ways that, there'll be a few hiccups, just like that time I was in New York City, but overall you'll be much more fulfilled, because you have the ability to love deeper. You have the ability to laugh larger. Even I think sometimes we get afraid of pain, and we don't have to be. I think we have been taught to be afraid of pain because we're afraid it's never going to end and it's going to suck us down into some dark hole from hell. But if you look at children feel fully. They fully feel their anger. They fully feel their sadness. They fully feel their joy. And they're not afraid because they know that it's like this beautiful painting of life. It's just a texture. And so that's what you have access to as a sensitive. Colors are brighter. That's why in one of my questions I said, do bright lights or strong smells or coarse fabrics bother you? Like everybody loves to hug me because whatever I have on is always ultra soft, because I don't like stiff, hard things on my skin. I don't like coarse or scratchy. I like things to feel drapey and soft, like I can expand and move. And so all of these things are very general tonight. For instance, a lot of sensitives need dimmer light. I did when I was younger. I've noticed now that I'm older, I like bright light. However, it can't be really bright incandescent lights. It can't be fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights are a bugger on sensitives unless they're full spectrum. So begin to play with this. So let's look at the loud noises. What can you do? What can you do? There is clear swimmer's wax that you can use. And you can put it in your ear if you know you're going to be in a really noisy situation. Nobody's even going to see it. And what it does is it kind of numbs. You can still hear if somebody's talking to you. However, that harsh, overstimulating sound gets dumbed down. For instance, a few of my clients that are in New York City, they realize that the trucks, when they're out walking to and from, the trucks passing and the blaring and the beeping and the screaming, and it was actually leaving them feeling like their nerves were raw when they got to wherever they needed to go. So now they just put a little bit of the swimmer's wax in and they're fine. And if somebody stops and asks them a question, they're still able to hear, but it's not that overwhelming sensation. All right, so that is on my list. So let me jump into my list here that tells you some of the things that you can do. One of the things as a sensitive that is going to take practice, and it's something I do every day, is take 3 minutes in the morning, after you're awake and you can feel yourself, maybe when you're meditating, like, how are you feeling today? What hurts in your body, or do you feel awesome in your body? Kind of do just a quick check. So like, whoops, here I am. This is how I'm feeling today. Now, why that? That's an interesting step. And it's because as a sensitive, when you leave and go out into the greater world, you're going to be sensing and picking up everything around you. And if you don't know where you're at, you're going to think that whatever you're feeling is your issue, and it may not. All of a sudden you may feel anxious, or all of a sudden you may have a wave of depression wash over you and you're not really sure why. But then the mind, trust me, will find a way to tell you why, but it's probably a liar. Because if you're fine in one moment and then a couple minutes later you're not okay, you can be very, very clear that you've picked up on an energy that's not yours. So back to the boundaries, I put an aura chakra thing. All you have to do is take a deep breath, exhale, squeeze your aura, puff it back up. So, here I am. Here I am. So that's why that 3 minute, just check into yourself. Who am I today? How am I feeling? It seems silly. It's actually a really important step that applied over and over really has massive benefits, because what'll happen is you'll quickly be able to identify. The other thing is you need to get enough sleep. You just need to get enough sleep. Now, we all have varying differences. I get 6 hours. I'm amazing. I usually function on 5. That's rare. Most people need a good, I'd say 5, anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. Find your sweet spot and make sure you get there. Make sure that you're winding down at the end of the day so that by the time you get into bed, you're ready to sleep. Dump any of the garbage, squeeze out your aura, take a shower if you need to wash off your day, but you need good sleep. Third thing, those healthy foods I talked about. You need nourishing foods. I love this group. I've seen so many balanced, amazing comments on food. Have a little piece of chocolate. Have a treat with your family. Do that. It's just we're not eating bags of chips. And we're not, overindulging. But come on, it's common sense. You eat whole foods. You eat good protein. If you're a meat eater, eat good clean protein. If you're vegetarian, eat good clean, your beans, your nuts, your seeds, your fruit, your vegetables. We know the routine. It's just we don't want to do it. However, for you, make sure you have healthy snacks, quick grab with you. Don't ever leave home without something that you can grab and pop in your mouth if you're going to be out on the road or you even suspect that you're going to get caught. All right? Fourth thing, I've already discussed your swimmer's wax, putting that little bit of wax in your ears if you're in a really noisy environment and it's too much. That will numb it down. Speaking about like noisy places, the networking scenario, I am very, very mindful when I'm checking out if I'm going to a networking event or not. Like, how much is it really going to help me? How much is it just I think I should be there. Everybody else is going to be there. I should be there. I love that. I'm shooting on myself. I'm going to invite you to step back and go, do I really want to? Is this really valuable? Is there a more effective way? And these are things that we can go in deeper. These are things that when I work one-on-one with clients, we look at your schedule, we look at your lifestyle, we look at if you're an entrepreneur, and we highlight what really works for you. Because I pick and choose my networking sessions very, very carefully now. I used to do a lot of them, and I would just leave feeling like roadkill, honestly. I'm charming, I'm lovely, I talk. Nobody would know. Like if you saw the outer me, you'd never have a clue. Inside, by the time I walk out, I'm ready to throw up and I feel like roadkill. Even with all my techniques, if it's just too loud, too noisy, too crowded. Now, for the ones that I do find are worthwhile, I'm getting that intuitive hit that I need to show up, it feels right, I want to be there, it's my conscious choice to be there, then what I do is I take flower essences, which I'm going to speak to in just a moment, and I put on my boundary oils, all the things to help me kind of beef up my energy field, center myself. And then when I get there, I look around and I find that person who looks intriguing or interesting. And I go up and I actually have an interesting conversation. And if that's not the person, I rotate around and I have little check-ins. But when I find that person that is interesting, that you can really have connection with, I find that bit by bit by bit by bit, we find ourselves closer to a wall, closer to a corner. So it's a little bit quieter, a little bit more. If you as a sensitive are in that group, have your back to a wall, it just calms down some of the extra stimulus. So that's a couple ways to handle the networking events if you're feeling guided. I was actually at one last night, and that I was helping out at my daughter with her business, and there was one person that was insanely interesting, and the conversation was so interesting that bit by bit, naturally, we found ourselves making our way towards the corner so we could actually have a real conversation. And so I had a very enjoyable time, and then all of a sudden my body just said, we're done now, time to leave. I honored that, left, went outside and got filled in. All right, so I just mentioned flower essences. Rescue Remedy, Box Rescue Remedy, absolutely fabulous. If you haven't heard about flower essences, do a little research. I'm glad to talk about it. Flower essences work on a vibrational level. They're not medicine. So if you're on prescription medicine or anything like that, you're not going to get any contraindication or difficulties with using flower essences. So the two that I use, it would be Rescue Remedy, if I know I'm going to be in a stressful, or when I was younger and I knew I was just so open and having trouble with my boundaries. I don't have to use it much now, but if you're going into like a hospital situation or a courtroom, anything that's got a lot of really highly charged energy, pink yarrow is what we say protects the psychic sponges. It just kind of seals up your energy field so that it's easier for you to stay inside yourself, centered in your own emotions and so forth. So I've used those on and off for years. As I said, now my own boundaries are effective enough. I can't remember the last time I took pink yarrow. There was about 15 years where pink yarrow and I were besties. Rescue Remedy I use now if I know I'm going into a place of heightened stress, because why wouldn't we use the tools that just make it easier? Make it easier so that we can show up our best self. And so my oils, because I love my essential oils. Now you'll notice I said, do you have a reaction to strong smells? Sometimes sensitives will say, oh, essential oils, like that. And what I would invite you to know is that's why you have to get pure oils, therapeutic oils, because most of the time those won't bother you the way other oils will, or the synthetic ones out there. So good boundary oils are clove, it's considered the boundary oil, and tea tree. And you can just put some right across the top of your shoulder blades before you go out, a little bit on the bottom of your feet. Again, strengthens your aura. Now the next one is really important. I love it. Christine Kane, she's a business and life coach that I really admire, respect, and have worked with. She calls it Moogle time. That was just such a funny word. I loved it. Moogle time is that you got to schedule in just time, private time, space time. I don't care if it's sitting there having a cup of tea and staring out a window, reading a good book, doing nothing, contemplating your navel, doing a creative project that's just relaxing for you. It's just that downtime, that quiet time, that whatever it is that is your soft thing. Mine, I go out in nature. I love nature. That's what fills me up. It's one of my things on this list. Nature is generous and giving and keeps us filled up as sensitives because we're able to feel how nature fills us. So Moogle time, private time, give yourself space. You must begin to put some of that into every single day. It's mandatory. Now I know there's some days that could look like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. However, find it, create it, expand it. It is so necessary for your health and your well-being. The other thing is if you know you have a big push time, you know you've got a project, a launch coming up, you're traveling, you're presenting, you've got back-to-back work days, you're actually excited about it, but it's a lot. It's a lot. As a sensitive, you have to build in what I call ramp on and ramp off. That means if you know, let's say, you have a very compressed week, you know that you've got a lot of demands, you know you have family, work, business, side business, whatever it is, it's just your schedule's packed. You need to take time the day before you go into that week to make sure that you have time for self-care, to do the things that you need to do to prepare yourself. If you have written materials to get ready, to do it in a quiet, calm pace. Here's the thing, as a sensitive, you don't want to ever have to go fast all the time. It's very draining. Your brain begins to fry. It goes, no! So the more you, steady is your friend. Paced is your friend. So give yourself, if you know you're going into that kind of a pace, like for instance, I've got at the end of my next week a very intense schedule. So I'm making sure that the day before I'm giving myself time to pack and time to do the winding down things that I know I need to do, because I know if I keep running and keep doing clients to the last minute, I'll be exhausted and unhappy and not prepared for the next step. So that's the ramp on. So now let's say you've had this big launch, if you're a business entrepreneur, or at work you've had a massive project due, or you've had children's demands and your own life and career things going on that have been so compressed you could barely breathe. Now you need to ramp down. That means you schedule in a softer day. You know, if you're self-employed, like I used to do this when I would go to, when I was working with one of my business coaches and we had to travel and those days, it's like 3 days from 9 till 10, 11, 12 at night, and super cold temperatures, not ideal for a highly sensitive. You know, you're sitting there at 65 degrees, you know, like this, and a group of people taking in massive amounts of information for 12 to 13 hours. Not easy. It was a worthwhile investment. However, I then used to hop on a plane, get back, and start seeing clients the next day. Can anybody like flashlights that says stupid, not smart, not a good decision? It was kind of like a duh, no-brainer, ramp off. So I started building in an extra day on the other side where I just stayed at the hotel where we were. I rested, I reviewed my notes, I did the softer inputting things, had interesting discussions with people. Then I caught a plane, got back home, and got back to business. All right, so think ramp on, ramp off. The other part of that's kind of a two-parter, is if you know you have a big push you've got to do like that, and you really don't have that little built-in self-care during your daytime, you actually need to make a conscious agreement with your body. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, like, I'll talk to my body like it's a separate being, because it is. We are mind, body, spirit, emotions. We've got these separate parts. And I'll make a contract. My higher self will speak to my body and say, body, this is not preferred. I know, like, okay, let's use those conferences I just referred to. I know you don't like this. I know this is not what you prefer. However, I know that it's worth it. I know you'll be okay. I'll bring a blanket. I'll have hot liquids for you. And then I'm going to take time off after, and then I'll get to business. So I make an agreement with my body that, okay, we know it's intense. We know it's a lot of hours. We know that it's not a lot of preferred things. However, I'm doing X, Y, Z to make you feel better, and then I'll do this on the other end, which involves always some rest and downtime. And if you do that, your body won't sabotage you. You won't find those big peaks and valleys that as sensitives we can experience a lot. All right, so that's a really easy way. I've got all these little hacks of when you can't get to the self-care, when your Moogle time is brought down to, 30 minutes here, 5 minutes there, how can I still compensate? And that's one of the ways. But the thing is, you then have to follow through on what you told your body you would do. Because if you don't, your body will sabotage you next time. It'll say, she didn't listen to me, I don't think so. So ramp on, ramp off, making agreements with your body, stick with it. The pause. I love the pause. And the pause with deep breathing is even better. You will always do better if you have a little space around your decisions, your choices. Take a deep breath and pause. Somebody wants something from you. Take a breath, take a pause. Tell them, you know what? Thank you so much. Let me get back to you in 5 minutes. Let me get back to you in a couple hours. Give yourself a little bit of space, from anywhere from 5 minutes to thank you, let me get back to you tomorrow. So that you are finding out what you need. What are your true feelings? Because remember, as a highly sensitive person, an empath, you're going to be feeling, again, the pressure of everybody's wants and needs all the time. The pause is your best friend. I'm writing about the pause. The pause is amazing. And when you take a pause and you go, you take that deep breath in, all of a sudden any blocks with that breath wash away from you. It brings in your pure divine flow so that you're able to more easily access what you need, what you desire, what's in right alignment with you, your life, your schedule. So the pause with deep breathing is your friend. Build it into your day. I don't care if it's a cranky boss, husband, neighbor, sister, mother, child. I don't care what the scenario is. Build in a pause. You can be charming. Thank you so much. Let me get back to you. Go to the bathroom if you have to. Come back. Take that breath. Take that pause. I have a lot of people who work in like corporate jobs, and they'll go to the bathroom or they'll go outside to their car. They'll take a moment and they'll take a few deep breaths, get clear, and then move forward. It just allows you to smooth sail through your decisions, your choices, what's in alignment, and you feel better. All right? Another quick, easy thing, when you go out shopping, when you go out to dinner, any of the things like that, high activity, go out at low traffic times. When people want to go out to dinner, I always ask, can we meet up at 5:30? I'd love to meet you at 5:30, because most places, when the dishes get clacking and people get talking and all of a sudden everything's bouncing around you, I will actually feel my stomach tighten up into a knot. And I like really good food, and I hate spending money on awesome food and then having it sit like a brick in my stomach. That's why I actually try to avoid lunch meetings where we're supposed to talk business and network. I'll instead meet up for coffee, tea, let's go for a walk, things like that that are more harmonious with my body, that I can be present with the person, be present with them. Remember, put myself in the circle, be present with myself. So, you know, go low times like that. Go shopping. I love shopping at like 9 o'clock at night. Everybody's gone. It's quiet. I can do. My very dear friend who cuts my hair up north, she would always have me come into the salon on like a Sunday when it was closed. So it was just her and me, and we'd laugh, and we do that. So just, you know, play with that and see if you don't have a more enjoyable experience. You know, it doesn't mean that you don't go out and do loud things. It's just the amount that you do them, the consciousness with which you're choosing to do them. Like tomorrow, I'm going to be out in the middle of hundreds of people at a rowdy soccer game. Why? Because it's in St. Pete. We have soccer. I love our team. People are happy. So what I'll be focused on is how happy the people are in the crowd and the energy and how amazing our boys are. And it's for a limited amount of time. So, and the sun will be setting and I'll have a gorgeous sunset. And so that'll be a lot of fun. Can I do it all the time? No, but can I do it tomorrow night and enjoy it? Absolutely. So it's not that you have to isolate, but if you start building in all these techniques, your breath, see, and also with the Rowdies game, it'll be outside. So I'll be able to draw upon nature, which will make me happy. So if you just start weaving, think of it as a tapestry. And as you begin to weave in, oh, I can use flower essences. Oh, I can take a pause, take a breath. Who am I? What do I need? What do I really want? Not just what this person wants. All of a sudden it becomes easier and you are able to do more things like that and enjoy them because your yeses will be clear and your nos will be clearer. I mentioned the low light for many sensitives, especially after 6 o'clock at night, helps to start dimming down the level of light. For me, not necessarily low light anymore, but I always have full spectrum bulbs. And they'll say full spectrum. Years ago, there was only one company doing it. It was John Ott. There's a ton of research that shows how it's affected. I studied and worked with lighting for years for that matter because even my local bank up in Maine, it was a brand new building. Everybody was getting sick and headaches, fatigued. They brought in environmental studies. They did air studies, EMF studies, because I mean everybody in the bank was getting sick, and I walked in and, you know, a little Miss Sensitive, the fluorescent lights were just overbearing and I could feel the vibration of them. And I just went to the bank manager. I shared my research that I said, please, I'll give you a hookup with a salesperson. I think if we put these full spectrum fluorescent lights in, that all of your problems will stop. Well, she believed me. She knew me. They changed over the lighting in the bank to full spectrum. It all stopped. Headaches stopped. Fatigue stopped. Anxiety dropped for everybody. So just pay attention to your lighting. And the last thing I wanted to share, I'm going to keep this a little bit shorter tonight. I've got 5 more minutes. Hang in here. Is what can you also do when you're in public? Along with your breath, remember you can breathe deep, full, and nobody's really going to be aware. Like I do this. People are going to see that, but you can take deep breaths in and just do that. I don't really care. I breathe as deep as I need to at this point in my life. However, there's a couple other sneaky techniques you can do. You can be standing there with your fingers down by your side, just very, very gently in that mudra. The act of bringing your fingertips together immediately brings presence. This is a mudra. You take a couple breaths, you put it down in your lap along your side. Nobody's even going to notice what you're doing. You can be standing in a whole crowd and nobody's going to notice what you're doing with your fingers like that. You keep it just easy and relaxed at your side. That immediately starts bringing together the circuits in your body, Those are the self-centering finger mudras. You can do that all the time. And a technique that I've used in when I've been at conference tables with high negotiations, a lot of energy flying around, what I have done is make a circle, same thing over here, put my fingers together, then I put all my fingers in. So it's like thumb, index, tuck them in, put my hands in my lap underneath the conference table, and nobody knows what I'm doing. And what that immediately does, that works directly on your third chakra. It brings up your power, brings in your energy. So anytime you're sitting at a table, I don't care if you're at a lunch table, a conference table, you're feeling that pressure of all the energies running around, put it together, put it in your lap. Nobody will have a clue what you're doing, and you'll immediately come back to self. So just a quick recap, make sure you get your sleep, make sure you're touching into yourself. Who am I before you start your day? So if you get knocked off, it's not even logical here. If you're feeling great in one moment and all of a sudden the next moment you're exhausted, tired, and a little anxious, you know you've picked up on somebody else's energy. Take a deep breath, squeeze your aura, come back. Have healthy snacks on hand. If you're someone who is sensitive to noise, have that swimmer's ears wax that you can tuck in here. Use flower essences. Use essential oils that help just strengthen your boundaries. Make sure you have that private time, your Moogle time. I love that word. Make sure that if you're in a crunch time that you're giving ramp on, ramp off space. Don't think that you can run right up to the moment you leave town, catch that plane, do your event, come back, get back in it. No, that's a recipe for disaster. Give yourself that time. If you have to push and you know you have to push, make an agreement with your body. The pause, deep breath, build in that time so that you're saying, oh, thank you so much for asking me. Let me get back to you in a couple hours and give you your answer then. Build that in. When you go out, shop at low traffic times. Go out to dinner when it's a little bit quieter so you can really enjoy the company. Sink in, enjoy your meal. Because remember, you are tasting your food. You are aware of the company. You are aware of the noise. So if you want it to be a more pleasant experience, make sure that it's softer, a little gentler. That's one of the things I love about living down here is I eat outdoors most of the time. All the restaurants have an outdoor space, and that immediately enhances my outdoor experience. So also get out in nature. Look in the faces of flowers. If you're not in nature, bring nature in. Put flowers on your desk. You know, have flowers on your kitchen table. Put them around the house. Bring that natural element in. I have crystals and rocks and flowers and things all around, not because I'm imbuing them with special powers, but because they immediately help me to remember to be grounded. They immediately help me to remember that essence self. Remember your boundaries. Go back and watch the boundaries. We want boundaries, not hard barriers that push people away. We just want to be clear within ourselves. We've got a whole video on that. Check that out. Remember, when you're feeling the pressure of everybody's wants, needs, and desires, put yourself in that same circle so that you're weighing and measuring where you're at in your ability to respond to others. Pay attention to your lighting. Do you need it a little bit lower? And I highly recommend full spectrum lighting because it helps your body to relax. It's what the human species was used to for hundreds of years. This falls incandescent fluorescent lighting is very new, and it's taking a toll on the bodies. And then the finger mudras at your side or the finger mudras under the table. Just quick, back to your thing. Resources, look up the highly sensitive person, Dr. Elaine Aron. She has books, she has a website, she really was on the cutting edge of the research and science. I'm always available. As I said, this is 30 years of clients, helping them, knowing that this is their brilliant gift, helping to look at their individual needs, wants, their schedules, and helping to create that. Let's see, I've got a book right here I actually really like. I don't know if, oops, looks like it's backwards for you. The Empath Survival Guide Dr. Judith Orloff. That says the Empath Survival Guide, but she's just got lots of fun strategies for highly sensitive people. So there's a lot of good information. There's not something weird and strange about you. There's something that's absolutely brilliant and beautiful. The depth and grace that you're able to reach. And if you're feeling centered and whole because you've been doing your self-care, what you put out into the world desperately needs now. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you have any questions, reach out here on the forum. You can reach me at ariana@prosperingpower.com. I'm more than happy. If you're just even a little confused and you're feeling self-conscious in the forum and you just want to bounce some things off of me, I'm more than happy to do, a short 15-minute complimentary discovery session with you. Maybe I can give you some tidbits, some guidance, some suggestions, see if we're a fit. Any way that I can serve and help you. Have a beautiful, blessed weekend. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye now.